What does success look like in Iran? How destroyed does it have to?
Well, I think we're looking more at a strategic level at degrading the capabilities of the Islamic Republic.
The lack of specifics on that are troubling. How did the America First agenda fail in Iran? Why?
I don't think the president's wrong. I think the president's demonstrated he is prepared to use the military instrument. That's why he keeps referring to peace through strength. I have a different assessment, sir. I do think he's used the peace and the diplomacy abundantly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A lot of different ways to ask this question, but the bottom line is, what does success look like in Iran? Basically, what are the objectives that we are trying to achieve, and what does it look like when we go, okay, we've achieved our objectives, success, we're done, we're out?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We're thinking a lot about this. I would say I can give you the perspective from the Department of War, which represents the direction that the president has given for the military campaign, which is specifically focused on degrading and destroying the power projection, particularly the conventional power projection capabilities of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and thus especially missile one-way attack drones capabilities and their production, as well as the naval forces of the Islamic Republic.
How destroyed does it have to?
Well, I think that's I mean, we're going to seek to do the best we can. I think we're on plan, as Admiral Cooper has said. I think that can nest with a variety of political outcomes, as the president referred to the other day. The Venezuela
Two parts
model.
to that. I keep hearing that we're on plan. And I keep asking, and this is oversimplification, but I don't know, they had 10,000 missiles, now they have 8,000. And I keep getting told, yeah, we don't really have those specific information yet. So how do we know that we're on plan if we can't
Well, we don't want to repeat, the mistakes of McNamara and a false kind of numeracy to it, but I would say that, we are looking at the strategic level. And I know some of the both civilian and uniform representatives will be briefing you in classified session later today. So obviously those numbers are important, but we're looking more at a strategic level at degrading the capabilities of the Islamic Republic, not only fielded forces, but the production capabilities.
The lack of specifics on that are troubling in terms of how long this is going to last. And then the second piece of it is what you alluded to, which is, okay, so we've done this before. I mean, we did it a year ago. Israel did it over the course of 2 years and significantly degraded Iran at a much lower cost in terms of the regional war. But when that's done, if the Islamic Republic is still there, they will simply rebuild. So what is the objective to prevent that from happening?
I don't think that's a given at all.
Well, it's not a given, but what's the objective?
No, I think
how do we get to the point where it doesn't
avoid the Islam? I mean, as Secretary Hegseth said, part of this, and I think Secretary Rubio as well, was the Iran was building a conventional shield to enable a recovery of its nuclear ambitions, and so obviously, as part of the end state, without being too kind of linear about it, is to prevent an outcome where they don't have the incentive, and that's where the Venezuela model. I think there's a realistic sense we have learned the lessons of Iraq and not being overly ambitious.
You understand that comparing Iran to Venezuela is like, I don't know, comparing Kentucky to Venezuela. It's equally valid. Iran.
I don't think it's a perfect analogy, sir, but I think I'm just making a point about in terms of the flexibility of the political objective. And of course, the president has said it's a fact, it's a historic opportunity for the Iranian people to rise up and overthrow this noxious government.
Right.
But
there's no particular plan for that actually happening.
Well,
it's more of a hope than a plan.
The Department of War has been instructed to focus on the military forces of the Islamic
The second piece
Republic.
of this that I want to get into is I think what President Trump meant when he was on the campaign trail saying that we won't go to Iran, go to war with Iran, is the same thing he meant if I was president, the Ukraine war wouldn't have happened. That his mere presence and his policies will stop that. That's the America First agenda. So I guess how did the America First agenda fail in Iran? Because I think the president sincerely meant that. He sincerely meant, you put me in office, I'm going to do things that's going to make sure that we don't go to war with Iran. He failed. We're at war with Iran, and 14 other countries have been dragged into it. So the speech that you laid out was very well said, and if that is what was happening, I'd have some quibbles, but at least we could live with it. But very clearly, that agenda failed in Iran. Why?
I don't think, sir, it failed. I mean, the president has been consistent for many years that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and it's a serious threat.
He's also been consistent that he would not, that war would, look, anyone can come in and blow stuff up. I mean, that option's been on the table, and that's the option we've been taking a long time. And that was sort of the president's argument, was, I'm different. I'm so strong that this isn't going to happen on my watch, and he was wrong. It did.
I don't think the president's wrong. I think the president's demonstrated, I mean, in his first term as well, but certainly in his second term, that he is prepared to use the military instrument. That's why he keeps referring to peace through strength. Of course, right, there's the strength element, and it has to be credible. He has, I have a different assessment, sir. I do think he's used the peace and the diplomacy abundantly over the last year and a half, right? I mean, all the peace deals, et cetera, spent a lot of time Gaza, for instance, and many of these other conflicts. So I think he very much is prepared, and he was willing to talk to the Islamic Republic, but I think that his determination and others, Mr. Kushner, Mr. Witkoff, Rubio, was that
I want to let some others get in here. That's solid enough answer, but again, there's no question that he failed in the sense that, he said there was going to be no war if he was president, and here we are. I mean, those are just facts. So we need to figure out how we got there. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, gentlemen. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers, for this timely hearing. America, I believe, is in a conflict we didn't choose. Dictators with rule of gun who are invading democracies with rule of law. It began, of course, in February 24, 2022, when war criminal Putin invaded Ukraine, and then it was followed up by the puppets of Iran invading Israel on October 7, 2023. With that in mind, I am grateful in your opening statement that you have cited the threat of the Chinese Communist Party in Iran, but the axis of evil includes war criminal Putin resurrecting the failed Soviet Union with mass murder in Ukraine since 2014, as Putin has rigged elections in Belarus and Georgia with Russian occupation of South Ossetia and Abkhazia of Georgia, while occupying Transnistria of Moldova. Incredibly, President Trump has achieved the 5% GDP by NATO allies, but peace needs more secondary sanctions on war criminal Putin. Additionally, war criminal Putin, I believe, is insulting you. He is mocking you personally, as President Trump has indicated. Putin speaks lovely in the morning and conducts mass murder in the afternoon. With that in mind, Secretary Colby, under the leadership of President Donald Trump, we're preventing endless wars, prioritizing American security and peace through strength. The National Defense Strategy seeks to shift responsibility for security in the Middle East to Israel and our Arab partners and prioritize other threats, and you've indicated the other threats should be focused on the Indo-Pacific. Do you believe that Operation Epic Fury risks wasting the Department's limited resources needed to deter war with China?
Mr. Wilson, I think that the Operation Epic Fury is actually an example of exactly what was talked about in the strategy. The threat posed by the Islamic Republic of Iran is explicitly detailed, and also the ability for the president to be able to take effective action against those threats. It's actually a validation of the approach towards allies and partners, because we see right now, obviously, Israel, a model ally, really taking the fight.
But in the meantime,
but also, if I could conclude, also
we're going to maintain every effort in success for Operation Epic Fury.
Absolutely, we're committed to making sure that Operation Epic Fury is a success.
And indeed, an extraordinary development today, to me, Iran has attacked Azerbaijan and attacked Syria. I am confident President Ilham Aliyev and the president of Azerbaijan, and Ahmad al-Shara, president of Syria, that Azerbaijan and Syria now will take action against Iran, which again adds to our capabilities of reducing the threat by Iran. Additionally, war criminal Putin continues, and our allies in the NATO flank face sustained pressure. Congress is aligned with the clear objectives. Congress appropriated $400 million for the European Capacity Fund to strengthen regional deterrence and partner capability. What is the policy's recommendation for using the $400 million appropriated in the European Capacity Fund?
Sir, I'd have to take that back. I'm not familiar with the specific issue, but I'll commit to promptly getting back to you on that, sir.
Indeed. You set the policy guidance for the security cooperation, and I would urge you that indeed these funds should be used to support the brave and courageous people of Ukraine. Hey, for 4 years, they've stood up to a murderous dictator. I was in Kyiv in December before the invasion, and the entire planning was resistance and guerrilla warfare. The people of Ukraine have stood up for 4 years, and criminal Putin has actually lost nearly 1 million troops killed and wounded. And every effort should be made to back up our Ukrainian allies. And the intent of the $400 million Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, which was authorized in the NDAA. Additionally, President Trump has made it clear that the Baltics and Poland are model NATO allies. The current force posture must be maintained for the benefit of American deterrence and commitment to the eastern flank, from our allies of Bulgaria and Romania to Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And so I'm just, again, so hopeful that indeed policies will reflect the axis of evil needs to be defeated. And it's war criminal Putin, it's the soon-to-be totally removed regime in Tehran, and the Chinese Communist Party. With that, I yield back.